So for those of you that have watched my channel may have seen the last episode actually this being in use. Today is kind of more review slash testing. Before I did a full review, I wanted to make sure I went out and used it for at least a day or two. All we're gonna do is show you the basics, then attach it to the scope and show you pretty much in the ins and outs of what the main parts of it is, and then we're gonna go ahead and take it out into the woods right behind me. But basically when you order this online, it was $50 on Amazon. I'll rate that link down below. It was $50 for me, which is kind of expensive, but the way I viewpoint it, it's a cool thing because then you can share that with your friends, family, or relatives of kind of what you saw through your scope. Right off the bat, you're gonna have this gray case, and inside the gray case, there's gonna be the main assembly, which is where your phone attaches directly to the scope. And then the other three things in here are your actual fittings. Now these fittings will help this main assembly fit different size scopes. So if you're shooting something with a little BB gun that has a smaller scope, it might not fit that. But then if you have maybe a deer hunting rifle size scope, you can use different size clips to fit that. The other thing you have in here is your instructions. Now, I already know how to use this thing. I already know how to put it together. It's a fairly simple thing to put together, but we'll go through it today kind of very, very quickly. We're gonna go out in the woods before it rains here. It's about ready to pour in the next hour or so. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to it. So the main assembly is pretty much consisting of two different parts. The actual phone holder, where you would slide in your phone right here, then the actual viewfinder. This viewfinder is going to attach directly to your scope with your camera facing on the very back. Now on this viewfinder, there's kind of three different parts. The first part is going to be the very front that attaches to that scope. We'll make sure to go over that. But what you're going to do is you're going to take the correct size fitting of those plastic fittings, put it inside here facing the correct way. Then you're going to put this cap on it, slide it where it needs to be on that scope, and then tighten it until it locks onto your scope. The second part, the pupil adjuster. So it acts as the same perspective as when you're putting your eye on the actual scope, aiming it without a camera. This is going to help with getting the correct distance where you need to be on that scope to get the perfect view. So on the side here, it's gonna have different distances. So if you take this off, you can remember that next time you come back, hey, it was at maybe 31 millimeters or whatever it was away. I'm gonna mark it, and that's where it needs to be. So you don't have to constantly double check on and off in the field. Right here is a little screw. So this screw is what you use to loosen and also tighten that pupil finder. And then the very back, that hole, you can see that hole right there that you can see the sun through. That hole is exactly the same position as to where the camera on your phone needs to be pointed. The gun that I'm choosing to use this today is a Savage model 73R17. When I bought it, there was already a scope that came with it. And I don't know exactly what size scope it is, but I do know that it is a Bushnell. But through fitting and checking the sizes, I was able to figure out that it was the middle size clip, the little plastic fitting. That was the size that I needed for the scope. Now, once you have this all set up, you have one last step, is to turn on your phone, turn on your camera, and right when you turn on your camera on your phone, whether it be a smartphone, Android, or any other phone that has like a capability that's about this size that has a little camera in the front, it should be able to work. I don't know if all phones will work, but smartphones definitely do. So that circle on your actual camera is your scope with your crosshairs in the middle. And what I usually do is just go right to your camera or your video, or you can go slow-mo, whatever you want. But just to see what it looks like, you open it up, and all you have to do is then use your two fingers or however you use to adjust, and then you can see your scope. You already have this set up, so you just take it in the woods with you. See a squirrel, see a bird, turn it on, boom. Very, very simple, game over. With no further ado, let's go ahead and take this in the woods and give this a shot for some local gray squirrels here in PA. All right, now that we showed you guys a little bit about how we use it, let's go ahead and show you the goods and the bads about this. What I notice is one of my favorite parts about this is most of it's actually metal. The main collar up top, that main sleeve, that main tube up top is metal. So it's a little bit heavier duty. You pay 50 bucks for something, you kind of want something to be semi good quality at least, you know, good quality, kind of make sure to withstand proper damage or proper abuse that you might find out in the field. So most of these things are going to be metal, except a few different pieces. So right here, it's a little bit rubber, so that attaches to your phone, so it's not scratching up things. These two screws, this top one that holds in your phone and this bottom one that positions your phone, those are both plastic. And I'm not sure if there's any other plastic pieces, I'm sure there are, but those ones that I noticed right away that are plastic. As far as holding into your scope, positioning and getting that scope perfectly set on there, it is great. I give it a thumbs up. However, as you can see, I don't know if I'm doing this correctly, but for how low this is in comparison to where my bolt comes out, when I bring out my bolt, I can't bring it out. It hits this bottom, hits the actual screw. So I have to take one shot, take this camera off, eject the cartridge, put another cartridge in, put the camera back on. So I only get one shot before I have to take this thing off. Do know if you can pull back your scope a little farther, it won't get in that way, but for right now, it's getting in the way. The second thing I don't like about this is these silver screws right here that actually holds that pupil adjuster in. Yesterday, or 2 days ago when I was out hunting, the other one fell out. So you can see right here, that right there is where the second one was supposed to be. So there's actually two of them. The one's still on there, but the second one came off, and that's kind of a problem. And what I noticed was, it's very easy for these screws to come out. What I would recommend is whoever builds these things should maybe use a simple thing with your hand that you pinch and you can slide it, and then you let go and it locks it in place rather than screws, because out in the field, if you're undoing that when you're cold, your hands are cold, you're just gonna go ahead and drop them in grass. You're gonna lose those things pretty quickly. So tiny screws, if we can get rid of those and put on like some kind of hand clamps, you pinch it, you adjust it, let it go, and it goes into place. That's gonna be awesome. I think that would be a next advantage to making this a little bit better. The other thing I don't necessarily like about it is because of this gap right here from the scope to your phone, when you put the gun on your actual shoulder and look at it, your face is so close to the camera, it might not be the best option for shooting, because your face is right there. You have to almost lean back a little bit. And other than that, I think anyone could use this if you're older, if you're younger, especially if you're a kid. And with that being said, if you guys kind of like this review, I don't do a lot of these things. If you're new here and you want to subscribe to see more, go ahead and click that subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner. And for today's comment down below if you've ever used something like this, and if not, would you use something like this? And with that being said, guys, have a great day, stay safe, and good luck.